Hello everyone, it's Bobby K, and welcome to another prop idea for the 2025 Halloween season.
That's the third time this week. Hey, this is End of the Road Haunts, and today I am talking about the second last Spirit Halloween animatronic idea for this round of Spirit Halloween 2025 ideas. Now, okay, for the last video, I want to do something special, and then we're getting into the themes. I'm gonna make a video on at least one of the theme ideas I have, but if you're lucky, maybe two. We'll see. But yes, the next video I make, unless it's something else, will be on my final ideas, but this is the second last one, so enjoy it. Enjoy this video. Have the steamy video juices drip down your chin. Enjoy it. Savor this video. Anyways, I guess you can't really savor the idea video if there's no idea. So, here it is. This is the King in Yellow. And in the past, if you watch me, you probably know that I love cosmic horror and I love Lovecraftian themed props. So I figured, well, I may as well practice what I preach. Because this here is a cosmic horror prop of the sorts. Now, the King in Yellow is, and correct me if I'm wrong, I'm sorry that I don't fully know. But the King in Yellow, I believe, was a book written by Robert W. Chambers, if I have that name correct. And again, if I'm correct, it's about this play about this ancient god that ends up driving people insane. It causes madness in the theater and stuff. And so that's kind of what this guy's based off of. Meaning he would be like the King in Yellow / Haster, that's another name he goes by, would be pretty much like the Cthulhu from Party City last year. In the way he's kind of he's not officially licensed because it's public domain, but it's not an original character, so to speak. But yeah, he's this old god, kind of, very I've said the word a lot, but eldritch, Lovecraftian in his nature. He has this, realm called Carcosa, and just the presence of him basically drives people insane, which is always just the coolest concept to me. I love the idea of, creatures or entities that can turn people to madness. And so I remember I was thinking about, animatronics that would fit a theater theme, just for funsies. And I was kind of thinking about this weird, puppet that I saw at this school art show. And I was like, okay, well, something with that would be cool, but what if I made it more eldritch? And then I realized, hey, eldritch thing and a theater. I could combine those. And that's, not necessarily combined, but I just remembered, oh yeah, the King in Yellow. So I thought, shit, that could be a pretty cool animatronic. I drew this up, and I'm pretty happy with it. I think it would be a very niche animatronic for sure. I don't know how many people would buy it. Probably sell very similarly, if not a little worse, to the Party City Cthulhu, but oh well. Oh, a man can dream. But yeah, he'd just be this giant, godlike figure. He has an amulet around his neck with the, this King in Yellow symbol. He has a crown. You can't see his face. His hood's pulled over and you can just see his tentacles coming out. He has long, his long fingers with tentacles coming out of his base. He would be a centerpiece animatronic, no doubt about it. He would not be a background display piece. This would be the guy you make your display around. And, I think there'd be something pretty cool about that. But anyways, I guess with that, let's get to his statistics. So the King in Yellow would be 10 feet tall. He would be the biggest animatronic idea I've come up with so far. And not just in height, but you can tell in width too. He'd be almost 8-9 feet wide as well. Pretty much Predator the Night sized, really. So that is possible. But yeah, he would be just a giant animatronic. I was originally going to make him 8 feet tall, but then I figured, I may as well go all the way if he's supposed to be this giant, ominous god. But yeah, he would just be this huge, as I've said before, centerpiece animatronic. And I just feel like with his imposing size, his booming voice, and just like the eeriness of his design, that he would be such an impressive animatronic to see in person. Like, now that I think about it, seeing him in themes or, God forbid, in a display that would, be centered around him, he would look so scary. Like, just, he's just ginormous. Like, he'd really strike the sense of that eldritch, god into you. I think he'd just be a really cool idea, I think. So, something else to mention with him that I never really mentioned for any of my ideas, but for this guy, he would need it pretty much. He'd be weatherproof. So his price would probably be very high. He'd be a very expensive animatronic. But, like, his clothing quality would probably have to be a little higher, more waterproof. Just because with him being so large, you're not going to set him up inside. I mean, unless you're rich and have a giant home. Like, nobody's going to set this guy up in their living room or anything. God forbid, like, their bedroom or something. So he would be weatherproof. He'd be something you could easily leave out overnight. Just because, if you had something this big, this expensive, you'd probably want to use it more than just one night. But yeah, like, his clothing quality would be high enough for that to be a possibility. And I think it would be easy enough. Especially because, like, the metal for his arms and stuff could be, easy enough to just not have any mechanics or wires in it. Now, in terms of his animation, he would do a fair bit. But his head would move in a circle. Not like, 360 rotation, but just generally, like, I'm thinking of a prop that does it. I don't know, but, he'd tilt his head around in a circle, very much like that. The tentacles on his face would move. Not very, like, they wouldn't have, like, very in-depth animation, but, like, some of them would just kind of, wiggle a little bit to make him look just that much more alive. And he would raise his arms. Not like just up. It would be like a slow up and down motion. It wouldn't be like a one-time thing. But I think the effect of this, with him raising and lowering his arms, his head, searching around at the sky, he just looks so cool as a centerpiece prop. Because it would look almost like he's, being worshipped, if that makes sense. He's basking in the glory of his, how do I describe it? Just, like, I could totally see him in a scene with, like, a bunch of candles around, posing a bunch of skeletons, or even finding some way to create, like, cultists praying to him as he just, revels in his own glory. I think he would just be such a cool prop that way, and would have such a badass, menacing figure that I feel like a lot of people would really enjoy, including me. So I don't feel like he'd have anything of the sorts of, like, lights or fog, but he would have audio, as the best props do. And his audio, I think, would be pretty neat. It didn't turn out the best, but the concept's there, at least. But he would speak phrases, and I'm thinking, I originally thought it would be, like, 3 separate phrases, but I decided to kind of combine them together, kind of like I did with Bertrand Blight, in the way that he just have one, like, 1 minute long phrase, because for something so large, it would make sense to have one longer activation than several small ones, just for him to be a little more, be going constantly. But yeah, so he would speak phrases, and he'd have a very deep, dreamy, echoey voice, similar to the Leviathan from the 2018 Call of Cthulhu game, who sounds like this.
I follow your wanderings, your choices, your attempts to free.
So I tried to recreate that the best I could. It didn't turn out amazing, but tell me what you think. He'd have just general eldritch ambience in the background, which is very vague, but I mean, you'll kind of know it when you hear it, if you get that. And there'd also be ghostly whispers. Since he causes madness in the play that's based off of him, apparently drives people insane. I feel like the ghostly whispers would just help kind of solidify that. Like, I could just see him in the middle of a theater as, like, people cower around, just, saying random ass stuff. And it was kind of funny to get the whispers. Someone on a Discord server I'm on, just on my personal friends, anonymously posted this string of text that just made absolutely no sense. So I thought, okay, maybe I should read this to sound like random, distant, insane ramblings. So I did, and it honestly sounds pretty good. But yeah, that is the audio for this guy. And now, let's hear it.
Can you feel the madness festering in your soul? The inhuman knowledge saturating your mind with promises of a higher being. Kneel, heed the call of Carcosa, and join me. The hearts of the fiercest beings wither before me, their minds fraying as they scream for ignorance. I am the silence of the night sky, the cold of the wind, the howl of the cosmos. Let the darkness envelop you whole. With each passing eon, the veil between realms thins ever longer. Why stay attached to one when you can revel in the glory of the all-knowing? Expand your knowledge or be crushed by the growing void of existence.
So that was his audio. Hopefully you tolerated that. I don't know, it came out a little dopey to me, but I don't know. The point is he'd have a very loud, booming voice, and while it is kind of hard to make out what he's saying, the subtitles obviously helped a bit. On someone's lawn or in the store, I don't think anyone would really care. They just hear his speech and be like, whoa. Like, he would grab people's attention for sure. Especially because, when you think about color psychology, yellow is a very eye-catching color. So he'd just be an insane prop in person, I think. Well, tell me what you thought of the video. Like and subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you in the next one, because there will be several versions of me. I will commit end-of-the-road mitosis. Next thing you know, there will be 2 end-of-the-roads, then 3, then 6, then 12, then 24, an exponential amount of end-of-the-roads will grow. You'll go to school, and all you will see will be bald 15-year-olds who enjoy Spirit Halloween, and they'll be making ideas. They'll be making ideas constantly. Eventually, Spirit won't even have a lineup, because it would only be my ideas. So please, like and subscribe if you're new. And then you will not be surprised by the growth of the end-of-the-road mob.